But you know how that go.
Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Now I have a very exciting video for you guys, but before I get into the details, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Now we got a chance to do a bespoke gown for one of our prom clients, and I'm going to take you guys on this journey with me. And it was a very exciting video because of course it is plus size, and I was trying out some techniques that I haven't tried before. And so we're actually going to start here. We actually made the gown already, but the technique that I was trying was to get the applique to kind of stand up off of her chest. And so what I'm going to start by doing is wood burning my applique, and that was just to get the additional mesh off. This method also proved to work later on in the video. And so now I'm gonna take my horsehair braid fabric. This is a crinoline that I got from Rosa Fabrics, and what I did was I ended up doubling it. I wasn't really sure what to do to get it to stiffen, but I knew if I use crinoline maybe twice, it should somewhat stand. And I'm going to be honest, you guys, it ended up working. So what I did was I took this 3-inch horsehair, it's interfacing, 3-inch interfacing that I ended up getting from Waywack online, and this was my first time really using it. And it's a little thicker than the interfacing that we use to do the petals with, because I actually tried to do it. So I would not recommend it for that method, but I would recommend it for something a little heavier duty like this. So I'm taking the applique and I'm going to place it on top of this layered bunch of interfacing and crinoline, right? And now I'm just pressing it in with the iron. Now this is my first time trying this method, you guys. I wasn't exactly sure if it was going to work, but you know, that's what fashion is all about, you know, trying new things. So I told my client, I kind of explained to her what I was going to do so that she would know what to expect, because later on in the video we're going to also be using hot glue and Gorilla Glue glue sticks to attach the wire on. So it was just important for you to kind of know what you may be using so that your customer will be aware, you know, especially if they're going to have glue on the back or whatever. And where she had the wire at, it was kind of off of the corset, which you'll see later in the video. So now once I have my interfacing and crinoline pressed onto the applique, I am going to take my wood burner and I'm going to actually burn the shape out. Now I kind of use the same method that we use to burn off the lace material or the net. So it proved to be easier, and it also kind of burnt the edges. And you guys see that I used a navy blue overlay with a nude lining, so that's why I used a nude crinoline. And actually when I thought about it, I could have used black, but I only used nude because nude, you saw it heavily throughout the entire design. So once I got them together, I cut them out with the with the wood burner, and yeah, it was just seeing if it was really actually going to hold up, form, take some type of shape or whatever. And then another thing that I loved about using the wood burner was that my edges was burnt, and I kind of needed them to look black or more black than nude, if that makes sense, to kind of support the design. So if you have a wood burner, I think it's the easiest way to kind of carve out the shape, but also seal your edges. All right, now once I got the shape cut out, you guys see I put it up to me because I wanted to see if it was going to work. And now I am going to get my glue gun, and I am using a mini glue gun and Gorilla Glue sticks. Got all of this from Walmart, and I'm using wire. I want to say it was 22 gauge, 20 or 22 gauge, and I got that from Hobby Lobby. And you're gonna pretty much measure. So you see where I did the half, like I kind of lined the crinoline to the half of the applique, so that's as far as I'm going to take the wire. And this is my first time doing this as well, and I pretty much just shaped it to what I need it to be. You know, the wire is pretty rolled up, so you're gonna have to do what you got to do to get it straight, pull it a couple times, tug it, whatever's necessary. Now I'm just taking my Sharpie and again just making that marking so I'll kind of know where to lay my glue, and then I'm going to lay the wire on there. And this is hot glue. The whole point of using it is because it dries pretty fast, and so I'm going to go ahead and lay a pretty thick layer of the glue. And I don't know if I went back and laid an additional layer like after it dried down just to make sure that it was kind of sealed in. But you want to make sure you lay a thick layer and that your entire wire is laying inside of that glue, because if it's not, it'll easily pop off. All right, so now we're about to sew the where do you see if the applique first worked? So this is what I was doing here. Now, as you guys can see, my corset is already fully made, and this is what you're gonna have to do, especially if you're doing an extended corset with a gown situation. So a little later in the video as well, you'll see me hand sewing the skirt onto the bodice, and I did a time lapse of that. And then later on, we're gonna go ahead and start sewing this applique down. But as you guys can see, it is working, it works. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to actually see if the two layers actually worked and if I was gonna have to do anything else. And then I also decided once I put the applique on the mannequin that I was gonna go ahead and split it down the middle. Now here I am sewing my skirt onto my bodice. And this part is important because both of the pieces were fully done before I added them together. And so this is going to be important, especially if you're doing plus size, you're doing an extended skirt, some type of extended situation like a corset situation under your mermaid skirt. You're gonna have to make sure that both of the pieces are finished before you attach them. And then I ended up hand attaching them. And I used a Mara 70 Tex thread. Now this is a really good thread. It's a basting thread. I get it from Waywag. It is super thick. But it's Martex 70 and Martex 100. Of course, you guys know I'm going to list all the details down below in the description box, but this is my go-to thread, especially when I'm sewing on appliques and I'm, you know, dealing with a situation where a client is going to be going out, moving around, dancing, and have a good time. So that was actually one of my methods of fixing some of the tears that can kind of happen to clients after events. If you guys are using all-purpose thread, like the thread that you get from Joann's or whatever, there's nothing wrong with that. But that thread, it's not durable for the type of designs that we are doing. You need something more heavier duty. Of course, the Martex 70 and 100, it costs a little more, but it is worth it if you don't have to get a call at the end of your client's event saying, hey, my shoulder panel fell off or a piece ripped or whatever. Now, of course, you can't control what happens at events, but if you can get in front of it, that is the whole point. So we decided to invest in thread, really invest in better quality thread so that we don't have just frivolous rips and tears, honestly. And now I'm also using a sewing needle. This is a hair sewing needle with a hook. Okay, so this is going to be very important for sewing this type of applique. I find that when I am trying to do like a hem or something of beaded fabric and I have to hand sew, I sew faster with a straight needle. But when I am doing the applique, because of all the diamonds, the beads, you know, the rhinestones, it is so hard to get through the fabric. And then you got to remember that we actually stiffened this. So you want to make sure that you're using a really thick needle, and the best one is going to be a curved needle, which is something that you can get from the hair store. You know, they're either 99 cents a piece or 2 for 99. But either way, it's going to be your best friend. They can still break, because I've absolutely broken one while doing something like this, but it is going to be your best bet for getting through those really fine curved areas or detailed areas, and you don't really want to mess the rhinestone up or mess the beading up or whatever. So, and as you can see as well, another thing is I'm sewing in small portions at a time, so my thread is not super duper long, and I find that it's just really easier for me to control the thread and control my ability to move as fast as possible. And so when you have a whole lot of thread, it's just going to tangle as much as possible. Now, I'm not saying when you are sewing or hand sewing, you know, that the thread has to be super short, but for the most part, you want to just kind of make it long enough so you can get a certain length of a section done. But it's also going to help you speed up time, because you don't have to worry about your thread tangling. And so in this particular, or for this particular bodice, I was very mindful, and you know, I was able to kind of control, do a little damage control while I was sewing. All right, so here is the gown. Now, I ended up having to get one of my friends to help me because, of course, I was running out of time, and so I had to kind of cut down on my recording and really just hurry up and get it done, because this gown actually had to be shipped to my client, and so it was just important for us to make it to the post office by 5 o'clock that day. But I wanted to show you guys how beautiful the gown turned out. Even just the technique with the crinoline braid or horsehair braid fabric, it really worked. Again, I used 2 layers with a really thick interfacing, and as you guys can see, I did a mermaid with a see-through godet in the back, and then I did a fully lined skirt, and then I attached it before doing the final details. Now this is the some footage from my client's fitting. This was before we actually installed her zipper. She was able to fly in for her first fitting, and then we actually ended up shipping the dress to her. So we inserted a split. We, you know, kind of positioned the applique to see how much would be hanging off of her bust. And then we insert her godet and shipped it to her. And then these are the final pictures from her look. Now, my client, she was giving like she gave me a 90s girl prom vibe or something like that. But so if you guys would like to see more content like this, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bye.